Recording in progress. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's event called Live and Intern in DC. Today's panel, event is part of the DC Trek 2024 hosted by NASPAA Employer Relations Committee. So all of you here joining us today are from different NASPAA schools where we all are servicing different MPA programs throughout the nation. If you're able to throw in the chat what school you're representing and which degree program that you're from, because our panelists absolutely want to know as well. This first session, part of the session will be recorded. We're going to have our panel. We're gonna turn it over to Q&A at the end. We'll turn off the recording so you're able to ask questions to our panelists as freely as possible. But first we're gonna start out with introductions. So I'm gonna start with Nicole. If you can please introduce yourself, the school and your program and where you're currently at.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Baruch. I'm a proud student at Baruch College, and I'm studying MIA, Master of International Affairs, with a concentration in trade policy. And I'm going to do a double concentration, trade policy and global security, because it's the two policies that I really like, and they work together. And I did an internship in GC last summer. I'm excited to talk about it.
Great, thanks. Maddie.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I am an MPA student at the Indiana University O'Neill School of Public and Environmental Affairs. I'm concentrating in health policy and policy analysis, and I'm currently out in DC as part of our DC Accelerator program, where we spend our final year of our master's in DC. So I'm interning out here with Academy Health, where I work on a variety of health policy issues, so right up my alley, and I'm really excited to share with you guys about my experience here.
Great, thank you. Gabe.
All right, hey everybody, my name is Gabe Terrell, he, him, and I recent graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison LaFollette School of Public Affairs, and I am super glad to be here. I'm at Booz Allen right now, just finished up my degree and am now part of a civil cohort, so excited to tell you a little bit about that, as well as where I've landed in the climate and infrastructure practice, which is really full circle. I studied the intersection of federal funding and local economic development, and now to be able to really see that happen as a dream come true. Couldn't have done that without being in DC 2 summers prior.
Great, thank you. And last but not least, Yuri. Oh, you're muted. Sorry. We can't hear you.
It's again. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yuri. I am MPA student at Baruch College. Currently, I'm in Washington, interning at the National Democratic Institute. Although my focus is public administration, I found myself working in foreign policy, but I have no regrets, and I would love to share my experience here.
Great, thank you so much. So we are going to be talking about all of you taking advantage of Washington, D.C. opportunities while you're in your MPA programs and related degrees. But actually, I want to roll back a little bit, and I want to know why you all chose your degree programs, and what your career goals are in pursuing your degrees. And I'm going to work backwards. So Yuri, I caught you mid-drink, but I'm going to start with you first.
No, I'm just actually I'm passionate with public service. Whole my life I did. My job was related to foreign policy. But here at Baruch, I focused on public administrations. But I believe it's like both directions. It's really very important, and they can complement each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Gabe?
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so rolling back, like why did you choose to pursue your degree program? Like, what were your career goals in pursuing it? Yeah.
Got it. So I graduated during Zoom University, 21. And I knew I had a degree in industrial and labor relations, and that's really sort of solving problems, within corporations, between industry. And I really wanted to think about broadening my skill set. Can I bring that same set of problem solving tools into the public sector? And of course, I grew up in Wisconsin, famous for its understanding of the Wisconsin idea, which is bringing the best of problem solving from the academia into the state, into the counties. And that's really sort of the ethic that I grew into and wanted to actually pursue post undergrad. And so that's why I joined the La Follette School. And just joining such a great group of students, group of cohort collaborators and professors to really sort of bring that idea, that Wisconsin idea into life. And so my ethics has been always, how can we bring the best of academia, bring the best of sort of problem solving into the public sphere? And so that's what I've been able to do for the past couple of years.
Great, thank you. Maddie.
So I did my undergrad at the O'Neill School at Indiana University as well, and absolutely loved my education there. So given the opportunity to start my master's there and start it a bit early, as an undergraduate student, I leaped on that opportunity. And the same reasons in undergrad that I enjoyed O'Neill, the faculty, the breadth of coursework. So everything from social policy and people-centered work to like those hard data analysis skills were really important to me, and also our rich research environment. I concentrate, like I said, in health policy, and my interests really lie in healthcare access and supporting that type of research. So knowing that there is a amazing faculty group that does that work at O'Neill, and then also being able to leverage health specific classes at the university with how many concentrations that we have was really important to me. And going forward, I kind of like Gabe really want to work in that space of translating research to policy. And being in DC has given me some more perspective on what that policy making side will look like outside of the academic research environment that I'm currently in and do really still love.
That's great. That's wonderful. Nicole.
Yeah, so I pursued this degree in MIA because I would like to get into public policy. And I'm from Brazil, so I did my undergrad there, and I come here. I would like to work in diplomacy. That was my first goal, but then I didn't know where, like if I would you go for nonprofit or government. But I narrowed my search now that I really would like to work in public service. That was motivated me to pursue. I would like to work in the government, and especially in the beginning was human rights, like I'm an immigrant or women's rights. But then now I became more passionate about other topics, other policies. For example, I'm also in the military, so I would like, there's so many security threats. Like, how can we focus on conflict resolution, diplomatic resolutions in what's going on in the world? So I would like to pursue this aspect, like the security, global security.
Thank you. Yeah, like I always your background is always so interesting to me because you've managed to find different ways to kind of combine all these things that are also very all these sectors that like exist in like the DC space and really within like public policy and international affairs. And all of you have very much well explained like what your passions were and connecting it to your careers. So now I'm going to go a bit. Now we're going to get into like the DC stuff. So we have two of you here who are alums of your Washington, D.C. programs, and two of you who are currently in your D.C. programs. I'm going to start with the alums, but what about your school's programs? So Washington semester at the Marxe School, Gabe, I'm not familiar. I think it's like, it's Wisconsin and Washington, something like that. Marie's on the call. She can correct me. But yeah, like what about those programs attracted you to apply to those programs? So Gabe, I'll start with you.
For sure. And I we'll get a comment, I'm sure, from Marie sometime. She's our wonderful career coordinator at the La Follette School. And University of Wisconsin has this wonderful program that places folks in DC. And also provides folks who are graduate students the opportunity to find internships in DC from a variety of other places too. And so that's where I found my landing spot for 2 summers. The first summer was with a policy cohort, other graduate students. I know I saw some Duke folks here in the chat earlier. They brought us all together from different graduate public policy programs and placed us within Montgomery County, which is the first county northwest of DC, into their county council to create original policy proposals for county council, as well as placed us in an executive agency. So I worked with the Montgomery County Department of Transportation in their director's office to draft and identify infrastructure projects that were eligible for the bipartisan infrastructure law. And so that was an opportunity that I found through our Career Service Center. And the second summer, also found an opportunity here through our Career Service Center, through a diversity graduate program that Federal Highways had, and again allowed me to come out here to work for the Federal Transit Administration, the Office of the Administrator. And so really looking at how decisions were made at that sort of the highest level. And I think, that couldn't have happened if I wasn't, connected to our career service department at La Follette, but also more broadly within the sort of ecosystem that sends so many Badgers to DC, every summer and even during the academic year.
Great. Thank you so much. Nicole, I know you probably didn't do our Washington semester, but you worked very closely with our programs to help find your position over the summer where you were at the Department of Defense. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that and like how you use the connections at Marxe to really help yourself in that position.
Yes, exactly. I'm very grateful for you for all the career servicing at Baruch. You are a wonderful team. I really appreciate it. Because if you didn't post the announcement, I would never apply. So it was very important. I didn't participate in the Washington semester. That's the program that you also offer. I applied, I was accepted. I was making all my plans to do the Washington semester. But then I got the job from my previous internship that I applied through the career services too. So yeah, that was the step. First, I applied for one internship on the Career Services website, Marxe Connect, that you post a lot of I like the connections that you use, like different sectors. And then I applied for JHS for a research position. And it was exactly what I wanted because it was in export controls. And before I did one internship in Edge Commerce in New York office. It's called U.S. Commercial Service. And I know some students doing MIA program is doing now. I know some students who are doing this the internship at GOC in DC in New York. So I Googled like, oh, there is an option that I can stay in New York doing this. So my first internship I did in New York. U.S. Commercial Service that was like part of the ITA, International Trade Administration, and it was 4 months. And after this, I applied for the JHS position that you announced on your website, and it was very lengthy process. It takes a lot of months to get selected. A lot of documents that you have to submit. You need to have a lot of patience, and after this. I did, and it was a very short term. It was only 2 months, my internship. It was very intense, like 2 months doing a research at Homeland Security in all the different laboratories that they have. So it was very intense, but I accepted, that's what I wanted. And I did one research in artificial intelligence. And and then I got the job after.
Yeah.
I didn't need to do the Washington semester.
Gotcha.
But it's good to have things line up just in case.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you both so much. So now for our current students who are in their Washington semesters, again, tell me what about your school's program attracted you to apply? And Maddie, I'll start with you so that we are not doing two back-to-back Baruch. Sorry.
Yeah, of course. So I think two big things and kind of juxtaposing things made me apply. One was the support I got from my university. So the career staff, people helping me with my schedule, just feeling very supportive in my process to DC, always feeling like I had someone to email who was going to get back to me immediately. I'm from the Midwest. Grew up there, went to school there. I have never been to DC. Moving here for this program was the first time I had ever seen like the White House, anything like that, which is very cool. So that support was very valuable to me. But on the other hand, I also really wanted flexibility, and I didn't want to feel that I was having to change or give up anything in my formal degree program. Program early. I was trying to fulfill requirements for undergrad and for graduate school at the same time. And I didn't want to feel that I had to sacrifice any part of my degree, and I didn't have to. The staff was so flexible with me in looking at what classes I needed to do, puzzling everything in so that I was taking the right classes at the right time, and making sure that upon graduation, I was still able to achieve everything that I wanted to. And that has been a success. And I'm, if everything goes according to plan for this semester, next semester, we'll be achieving that. So I think that that was really valuable. So having that supportive team that allowed me to have that type of flexibility definitely attracted me to the program. And then just wanting to be in DC in general, I think being here truly does put a real practical application to policy and everything we study. And I was really craving that type of experience. And I think that once I do start applying to jobs and hopefully get to stay in DC, that will be really valuable for me to have had my year experience out here before even entering the job market.
Great, thank you. And Yuri, what attracted you to the Washington semester program?
Actually, I also never been to Washington before, but I went to Baruch last year, and then from my first day, I wanted to get on board in the Washington semester. Just assuming that that is like the best place if you're passionate about public policy, international relations, politics. So everything what's considered boring in New York, but Washington DC is the best place to apply your interest and to be in the middle of policy making, of decision making, and to try doing your impact. And actually, yes, of course, because also because of exceptional learning experience. It's not just a classroom, but through internship, guest lectures, site visits. All our professors at Baruch are brilliant, but the Washington faculty is just exceptional in teaching. But they also offer you full support. So we are very you're gonna feel well guided. So just it's like we live in a great area, in very good conditions. So and the professors really, especially our Yvette Laganteri, she's organizing events, helping us networking. So even if your soft skills need some work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll continue with you, Yuri, for the next question. What was your internship search process like? And I'm more talking about, did you apply to multiple positions, kind of just to kind of get yourself lined up for your start date? Did you apply across different sectors too?
I can say it wasn't an easy journey. So it's gonna be you're gonna you're gonna spend your time. And I applied for multiple positions, for I believe up to 100 positions.
Wow.
So and actually it takes a lot of time, because you need to tailor your resume and letters to each positions. So then it's about interviews. So it's like the job search.
Mhm.
So it's like, I believe it just you need to be ready, but I believe it's not nothing. It's like it's the same like actually Washington semester in general challenges you to leave your comfort zone. So it's
Mhm.
like you have to be brave enough to pack up, move to a new city for a few months,
Yeah.
and immerse yourself. So it's like and job search, internship search, is a part of this process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually really funny. I kind of relate the any job and internship search. Like the analogy I kind of give is like when you're moving to a new apartment, you apply to so many at a time, and you're just like, I just need one to stick. And that's sort of like, very short term, high pressure, but then it does pay off. Absolutely. Maddie, can you tell us a little bit about what your process was like when you were applying for your internship?
Yeah, so going into my first year of graduate school, I did a massive networking search. So it wasn't even about applying to anything yet. It was just putting out as many emails and cold calls as I possibly could to get an idea of one, what I wanted to do, but also what opportunities might be popping up. So I started that a year before I moved to DC and really relied on the career hub at my university to connect me with existing alumni out here, but then also just for guidance about how to set up networking, how to track it. I have a massive spreadsheet where I have all the people and dates that I've talked to them and notes about them, which is very helpful, a little tedious in the process, but helpful when you're actually talking to people. So I probably met with like 50 to 100 different people over that fall semester. And then come that spring semester, I strategically looked about like the feasibility of getting an internship at certain places with how much I wanted it. And once I looked at that for a little while, I had landed on a place that I thought was very feasible based on some of my previous conversations with them and some work I had previously done with them, and reached out to that connection directly and said, Hi, I'm looking for something for a year. Do you have anything? I got very lucky, and that person actually agreed to hire me on for a year. So I didn't apply to a lot of places, but I did a lot of back end work to identify places that I might be able to use one of my networking connections to get in with. And I think that was really valuable as a learning process. There was also places I talked to that I was like, I don't think I'm a great fit for you all, and I don't think I see my potential here. And then the places that I did see that potential with, I still continue to talk to. And one of them did pay off and ended up being able to offer me a position kind of informally. So, highly recommend trying that networking process. Regardless if you're doing the formal application process or the networking process, you're going to be talking to like 50, 100 of people trying to get something to stick. But again, like you were saying, it is definitely worth it.
Yeah, networking sometimes it does require the same amount of like mental like strength to do as like an application. It's like, are you doing it face to face, or are you doing it in front of a computer and kind of all that stuff? Like all of that is very important when it comes to applying for those positions. So thank you. Gabe, tell us about your internship search process for the semester.
Yeah, I recall coming back the second year of my master's program, and speaking with uh, folks who had just joined the MPA program at UW, who wanted to hear from us how it went. And one of the questions we asked was, how early did you start applying? And I think I might have shocked a couple people, and said, um, even before I joined the program, I was reaching out to folks who were recent alumni, who were doing things that I thought were appealing, and wanted to get a sense of not only just how they had gotten there, but also what was the program like? And so using that sort of core group of alumni that were in close proximity for a host of reasons, but also then always asking, is there a couple other folks that you might be able to get me in touch with? I really enjoyed this conversation and would enjoy talking with folks who have similar experiences and backgrounds. And boy, oh boy, that is just the wonderful multiplier of, this person is interesting. This person, Gabe, is interesting. Why don't you connect with him? Think about he's going to reach out to you. Why don't you go ahead and put some time? And so it made it into sort of a warmer cold call. And I really just sort of thrived off of finding new people to connect with and sort of building that network early on, so that, by the time the applications started coming back for interviews in the fall, I was ready because I had sort of gotten a sense of the folks who are already in those positions and sort of getting a sense of what makes a competitive application. And that's what really allowed me to sort of find sort of a dream gig with this cohort in my first summer alongside other graduate public policy students, from across the nation. And that really sort of allowed me to then continue to sort of work in this sort of transportation infrastructure space and develop this sort of, I guess, burgeoning expertise that allowed me to come back to DC at the federal level my second summer. And I think that was really important in terms of being able to continue to build out that pipeline of contacts and to really sort of know where you're going based on trusted folks who are already there.
I like how you called it a warmer cold call, because I think that's something that a lot, like cold calling and cold reaching out, is just something that can be so intimidating. And I think, to reiterate the point of take advantage of your alumni, because you and Maddie both have made that point, because everyone in this call is likely going to be, or no, I'm manifesting, you are all going to be alumni at one point, and you are going to want to help out, students who are in the programs and whatnot. So yeah, very good point to make, to like, keep connecting with your alumni. Whatnot. Thank you. Nicole, I'm going to switch the question up for you a bit, because you answered a little bit about your internship process, but because I know you applied to like multiple sectors, what was the waiting process like? Because we know that typically a lot of like federal government positions, they can take some time. How did you manage, or what were you doing kind of in between, and kind of in between hearing back from different opportunities, and kind of just keeping yourself like, oh yeah, I'm waiting for something to come?
Yes, of course. It's a lot of anxiety there, but I know. I think organization is very important, focus, like even though I was hearing from them, I had a spreadsheet, all the positions that I applied, the status, like, okay, initiated, applied, I have to hear from them, because it's easy if they reach out to like, when did you apply? What's your goal? Why you want? So it's good. I think it's good to leverage your experience. And while I was waiting, I was applying for other jobs too, because you don't know if it's gonna work out or not. You always have to be prepared. So I think it's what else? I was also building network, going to network events, taking advantage of the alumni. There was another student that was she's graduating one semester before me, so she had more experience. She did one internship that I was interested. So reach out. So it's good to use your personal connections. It's very important. And one advice that I learned from somebody else that I'm adopting now is build your relationships before you need them, because you never know. So I was reaching out with people that had a position that I already wanted, that I was interested. And that was very important. Even though I didn't land the job, for example, I in the beginning I was interested in UN, so I connected with people diplomatic when they respond. It was very important. You learn like the art of connection with people, but also yeah, it's important not to quit. Like you're gonna have setbacks, some things that maybe you're interested or not, and maybe you're gonna change. You're gonna think you're gonna find something that you're more interested, and it's gonna leverage your experience and your interests.
Great, great. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to switch a little bit more to the living in DC. I'm going to start with you, Maddie, because we talked about how there was an option for housing, but you opted to do some with roommates instead. How did you go about that process of finding housing in DC?
Yeah, so I decided that I had a group of friends moving out here and was going to live with them. So we definitely had a group effort going to find places. We were checking those, search engines. We were looking on apartments.com, other sites along those lines. But then we got some insight to look at places like Facebook and Craigslist. It takes a little bit more maybe strategy and scoping and critical thinking about some of the places, but people genuinely do, and it's usually individuals who have houses in DC, post listings on Facebook and Craigslist. We found a property on Craigslist we were really interested in, vetted it a bit, talked to the current tenants of the house about their experience, and had one of the girls who happened to live in DC go and check it out. And she thought it was great, thought it was wonderful. So we signed on there. So my advice for looking for housing in DC is one, start early. We started early relatively. I don't know how everyone else's housing market is, but in Bloomington, it's like a year early. You don't need to do that for DC. A couple months is plenty. Probably I wouldn't start looking more than 3 months in advance. And really just start putting a ton of messages out. We probably contacted 50 to 100 places and got 10, 20 responses from them. And we then went in person. I think that's really important too, until you find somewhere you're comfortable with. If you don't have anybody out in DC that can look for you, you can always try to do like a FaceTime call and have them show you around the house. And from that process, we then landed on the place that we're currently in, and we've really enjoyed it so far. So yeah, I would just say start probably 3 months in advance, put out a lot of feelers, and then if you can get in person, do that. But if not, then try to do some type of live screening. But ultimately, we landed in a place that we really liked, and there are really good options out there.
Great, great. Nicole, I'll pass it to you next. Yeah, like how did you go about your finding housing?
Yeah, so if I was going to do the Washington semester, they provide for you, they give you all the help that you need. But in my case, I looked online. I looked at like there's a lot of groups too, but also like websites, like apartments, because I knew that I was going to stay permanently. So it was a big change. I was thinking something temporarily, but then I got the job and they said, but you need to relocate. Yeah, because to be in the same area of interest, like Virginia, Maryland, or DC. So I had to move. And you have to be prepared for these things, for like and like Madeline said, like try to look for places in advance because of the market here is very competitive. A lot of people are looking for housing. So yeah, start your search early and yeah, look at different options because there's a lot of possibilities like real estate websites or groups too, depending on the needs of everyone. Yeah, but it's
Great.
important. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Gabe, I'm not sure if I recall what was your housing situation like when you were doing your first internship in DC?
All right. Well, so I have family in DC,
Okay. That helps.
and I had family in Montgomery County. So they were, I took the reverse commute, lived in Southwest, and sometimes hung out in Montgomery County because I, could go to dinner. So that was that. I will say that I was incredibly fortunate because all the other folks in my cohort, we were given a generous stipend, but it's expensive place to live, and so I wanted to really sort of underscore that point that it does sort of eat away into sort of the opportunity to really enjoy a place with a high cost of living, and so there's a number of options, but sometimes it takes a little bit of ingenuity to sort of find something that's going to work with the budget. And I think that that's an important thing to consider, even though a stipend usually in Wisconsin, in Washington is high. It doesn't compare to the housing costs in Madison, Wisconsin. Second summer was diversity cohort program around under highways, which also provided housing within walking distance to USDOT down in Navy Yard. So that was an incredible opportunity for a number of folks from across, the nation, of all different backgrounds, and experiences living together was really kind of neat to be able to have a roommate and to create friendships from people down the hall, and having that sort of built-in connection and those cohort programs I think really allow for folks to, I think, find that it's not just about the internship, but it's also about kind of living together and finding sort of community. And so was really envious that some of the other folks in the cohort program in the first summer got to live together. And I always had to like commute over, but I found that that community was really wonderful in the second summer.
Great, thank you. And Yuri, for the Washington semester, I know housing is provided. What is it like living with your fellow classmates? I mean, you're all in different internships right now. Do you all come back at the end of the day and like kind of just talk about like how work went? Like what's it like?
Yeah, actually, I believe it depends because we are fortunate we have very good housing conditions. So we're provided by our college. We meet every day, and actually a couple of days in the week we have like a common agenda because of classes and doing it together. So everything really great, and actually I expected not such a good conditions, but I was surprised in a good way. So, and in general, I believe on Capitol Hill in the middle of everything, it's really a nice area, and you can get from here everywhere by bike or just walking. So I enjoy it really.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So my last question before we turn it over to question and answers. What advice would you have for any students considering a short-term semester, a short-term situation in DC, before really just putting yourself forward? And Gabe, I'll start with you.
Go for it. Plan ahead, really dive into it. This is your chance. You're in graduate school, such a different sort of flavor than, an undergraduate, just getting a sense of maybe where you want to go. Now it's sort of like, now I feel like things are working and I have a sense of where I want to go. Let's go for it, do it. And also think about, it's not just having that internship, but it's also being part of a city and a community that's just really interested in what people are doing. And, it's really easy to network. A lot of people are here for a short time too. This is DC where, folks are coming in because they're really super interested in a certain policy, which is exactly exactly what we're doing in graduate school, honing in, focusing in on certain policy. And so, that's exactly where other folks are too. And so meeting those, folks in, if they're alumni or not, the coffee chat is such an awesome thing to do. People are really willing to do that. And so it's, one thing to do that, virtually, it's another thing to do that. Just by happenstance, meeting up for coffee is super easy to do. The city itself is so easily transversable through metro or bike or bus or whatnot, or walking. And so I think that it's just really such an awesome opportunity that's empowering too, being able to say that I made the most of my graduate school, sometimes only 2 years. And so one semester is worth it for sure. A semester in a summer is even better.
Great, great. Yuri, what advice do you have for students considering the semester?
Yeah, yes, of course, you should be brave enough, but it's really worth it. So just my advice using all the opportunities here, because it's like you're gonna have choice almost every day to stay home or to go to some events and meet new people. So it's like it's really don't stay home, go out. So and use every every mom every moment here in DC.
Thank you. Nicole?
Yeah, so my advice is just trust yourself, trust the process. It's definitely worth it. And I agree 100% with Gabe that he said, like, to build your community, explore while you're here. Enjoy, because in here, people are very work oriented. They're very career oriented. Like, everyone asks you, like, what do you do for work? What do you do? Even the Uber, everyone. So they like making connections with you. And don't hesitate when you have a first obstacle, because for me to move here, there was a lot of things because I'm still in my graduate program. I'm still doing my schoolwork, assignments, full-time work. It's a lot of things, but you don't use this obstacle as an excuse. Say, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. Just trust it. You're gonna be able to manage.
Nice, nice. And finally, Maddie.
Yeah, I would say I'm seconding everything that people said. It's definitely worth it. DC is an amazing place. It's a really good place to get that practical experience. I think the transition here has been less daunting than I expected it to be. Again, coming from the Midwest, coming to the East Coast, it's kind of scary. But people here are really friendly, and so many people are here for a short amount of time. That makes everyone very approachable and interested. Coffee chats are huge here. I had one this morning. Super informal, just a good way to get to know people. And everyone is doing really interesting things and happy to share about them. And I felt that everyone is really excited about all the different things that everyone's doing, and are in a place to collaborate rather than be super competitive. I also say just living in DC has been beautiful. It's really amazing to see all the monuments and all the museums. And there's so many free and fun things going on. And also just to touch on the school aspect of it, if you are looking to a program that would be during a semester or with school as well, I find that is pretty manageable, and a good excuse to try out new coffee shops to study. So recommend doing DC overall, and I'm really excited to continue my time here.
Well, thank you. Those were all wonderful insights to your times at DC. I mean, I know you're all still in the area. So yeah, thank you all for at least this first part of the panel questions. We are going to turn it over to Q&A. But yeah, like that was a really good beginning to kind of like how you guys got to DC and how you're all enjoying it so far. So I'm going to stop the recording here.